Yeah, that's gonna be enough for that song. Hey everybody, how we doing? It's Curt, and I have a special guest here in the studio with me today. I have Naomi Lord, who is the illustrator for A Place for All My Books. So Naomi, thanks for being here.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, yeah, obviously we were just talking before we went live. We're pretty stunned at the reaction that we've gotten to this board game so far. I imagine it's also been pretty wild looking at it from across the ocean as well. So
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, I absolutely loved the theme when you told me about it months and months ago, but everyone else clearly loves it as well, which is
indeed,
nice.
yeah. Well, so as I've said, I think previously on some other discussions I've had, we did have the prototype at the last two game conventions we attended. So we had it at PAX Unplugged, and we had it out also at Tantrum Con, which is a smaller convention here in the US, but a delightful one. And every time I put it out on a table and people were walking past, your art stopped people in their tracks.
Oh,
And so, I think that and the fact that the headline is like A Place for All My Books and it feels so warm
mm,
and inviting, people were just drawn to the table. But yeah, a lot of the credit for that goes to you and how you've envisioned all that we're
mm.
gonna bring to life here. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I'll give you a lot of credit for having like the best brief. I don't think I've ever had a project with a more like, I want this. I want it to look pretty much like this. And I was just like, I know exactly what you want. It made
Oh,
it
that's
so
great.
easy.
Well, so interestingly, for a good 20 years, I was a creative director at a marketing agency. So
Um,
so I've been working with creatives and artists and all sorts of things, both
mm,
professionally there, and then of course the 22 years doing this as well.
mm,
So happily, I pride myself a little bit on giving artists what they need, which in my
mm,
view is really like we're working together because you bring so much to the table. Let me run some guardrails of what my vision, my hope, the way it needs to feel when you look at it,
mm,
and then
mm.
do what you do. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's my preferred way of working, and happily, I think most artists, want the guardrails, but then
Mm,
the freedom to go and breathe life into it.
yeah. 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 No, it's you get such a wide variety of like what people like when they hire you, what they actually want. Like some
Mhm.
people will give such a like a really vague thing, but then they'll be thrilled with whatever you give them. Some people are vague and they're like, oh, actually, no, we wanted this really specific thing. So it's nice when people want something like they're like, oh, we want the cozy vibe. They
Yeah.
say it in the beginning. And I'm like, okay, right, cozy,
Yep.
calm, lots of books. I've never drawn so many books.
Yeah, I bet. All right. Well, I see we got some people coming in. So I see Sean out there. Scott Morris is out there. Hey, Scott. Yeah, thanks for joining. Got at least 10 people out in the wings. By all means, if you have questions for Naomi or me, go ahead, list them, and we will get to those as we continue to chat. Um, Naomi, where I want to really start is tell us a little bit about your background as an artist. Where you got your start, where you've been largely doing your art, all of that.
Okay, right. Well, so I went to university to study architecture. That's and then I graduated with this with the knowledge that what I wanted to do with my life was not be an architect.
Yeah.
that was the official like summary. I was like, not that.
Sometimes
So
that's as important, if not more important.
yeah, I crossed one thing off the list and I was
Yeah.
like, right, I've got everything else as an option, just not architect.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, and after that, I've always really liked drawing, but it's such a hard industry to try and get into, and it's also such a hard thing to want to do because like it's sort of it's a tough one.
Mm,
So I think when you're like studying, you don't like it's going to university for it is hard because it's risky to do because you're putting a lot of money into it. So I didn't do it, and then after graduating, I was like, I'm just gonna try drawing anyway. And yeah, I just posted a lot of art on the internet. And then it just sort of slowly started to, I drew some fan art of some cosplayers and things. It started to pick up and I started doing commissions. And then slowly I actually became a genuine professional illustrator out of it.
that's
It's not
really
the most
wonderful.
glamorous start.
No, well, honestly, I think it's actually a pretty wonderful way to start, because
Mm,
what you were able to do, I think all creative people, I think, kind of struggle with, am I worthy? Is what
mm,
I'm producing, does anyone care about it? Like,
mm.
there's a lot of stuff that you can really tear yourself down with as we all compare ourselves to other people, and we're like, oh, I wish I could do that, but that's
Yeah.
my skill is I do this, and
Mm,
who can love that? Well, now, if you start with something where you're sharing your work online
mm,
and you're building a fan base, which, by the way, you
mm.
have a huge huge fan base online, both Instagram and Facebook. So
Mm.
clearly people are resonating with your style, and I mean, not it's not really just a style though, is it? There's something evocative and emotive about what you do. Talk to me a little bit
Mm.
about that.
Well, I think it helps to keep like a sort of consistent sort of theming. Like almost always am drawing really cute, sort of cozy. Just it's all quite positive. I try and
Yeah.
keep it positive.
Yeah.
I try really hard. Um, and it's all. I mean, I everything I draw, especially like on the social media, it's every that stuff I really like. It's coming from a place of me really liking what I'm drawing, which I think helps. And I think over years, I mean, I've been around for quite a while on the internet now. I think I've just gained a lot of people that are also like, yes, I also love dragons and foxes.
Well, so now, oh, by the way, Scott's out here. Scott says it's ironic. He has an architecture degree and also very quickly decided not to be an architect. Your art rocks. So glad you made that change. Well, I
Thank
agree.
you.
No, who knows what amazing structures you may have made either. Who knows? But yeah. um, so now a lot of the stuff that you draw and post.
Mm,
Um, how much of that is actual commissions that people are asking you to do? How much is just you get
mm.
inspired and you get into a theme and you just kind of go, or there are outside projects that you kind of bring in and showcase, like, how, where what are we looking at when we look at your stuff?
Yeah, I try and on social media, I try and keep it a mix of things, But recently, I mean, I've been quite busy with projects like the board game and things
Mm.
that I've been so haven't had time to do. Like, I've only recently just opened commissions, and it's been 2 years.
Oh, I
So
didn't realize.
yeah,
Okay.
um, but yeah, it's I try and keep it a mix of little. But I try again when like I think it's hard as an artist. I think most artists have it where you most artists love to draw, but if you're drawing for work, sometimes you end up drawing stuff you're not choosing to draw and you like run out of steam a bit and you get a bit burnt out. So I try and always save time to actually work on some fun little so that's from my book. So that's a
Oh, okay.
project.
So that's wonderful. So it's an upcoming
Mm.
art class book. An art class
Mm.
book. Talk to me
Yeah.
about that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I can like briefly do a shameless promo with the it's in the I've got an advanced copy of it right here. So it's just a little step by step. of the so it's sort of little
Ooh.
fantasy creatures, so goblins and elves and rangers, and it's very sort of Lord of the Rings D&D inspired, step by step how to draw these characters. Sort of my idea being you can sort of draw your own D&D character from it, from the
Uh-huh.
basis of all the lessons you can sort of come up with your own little characters and things.
Well, that's really
um
neat. Now, how many books have you produced of your artwork?
So I've got two. The character one is just coming out in a couple of weeks,
Mhm.
and I've got a mythical creatures one that came out last year, which is the same thing and up like a
Right.
art
Now
class book.
now I think there's a lot actually of the mythical like, is this kinda representative of those kinds of things, or they're kinda deeper on the page yet? Oh
Yeah,
my
they'd
god,
be
look,
deeper
they're
in because it was
so
from a year
they're
ago.
so cute. Actually, I
Yeah,
should
I'm working. There are solar system foxes there. I'm drawing.
I should probably just go, like, to
Oh
the
wow, they're
actual
old.
art.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
photos.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. I
I
mean,
post a lot.
yes, you do. Like, it's actually it's shocking how prolific you are, and so, I mean, look. I mean, this makes me absolutely giggle when what is that thing? Get out of there. Oh, no, I don't need this. What is going on? All right, but this is just adorable, and so much of your art, when you look at it, it puts a smile on your face, and it's joyful. And I think you mentioned that earlier. You try to keep things kind of happy and light and things,
Hmm.
but you really do. Like there, I think what I was most attracted by was not just
Mm.
like the cuteness. They obviously you've got great cute characters, and they're all very cozy. But when we as an audience look at your work, I mean,
Mm.
it's just there's a soul to it, there's a heart to it. It's just warm and welcoming, and I think more than anything else, that's what brought me to you and had me wanting to work with you. So
Well, thank you.
yeah. Well, I see Devin is out there. Absolutely gorgeous artwork, fantastic job, says Devin. Um, and let's see, yeah, got some more people out there as well. Um, Now, as we are going through other stuff here, oh, now tell me about this.
Oh yeah, so Mary Lwyd. I might be pronouncing that horribly. Sorry to any Welsh viewers.
Yeah.
But this is a folklore from Wales of the. I think you're meant to sort of have like a rap battle or a singing battle with a horse skull, a very very sort of fancily dressed, a very well dressed horse skull. And I think they might, if you lose, they steal all your alcohol.
Yeah.
I think might be. I'm so sorry if I'm
I
getting it wrong,
I
guys.
might be related to this.
But it was a real challenge to draw.
Yeah. What made this a particular challenge for you?
Oh, horse skulls aren't really the
Mm,
cutest thing,
no.
so had to do some artistic license. But it did quite well. Everyone was quite appreciative, so
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Yeah, it's great. So, at some point I'm gonna get to the piece that now this also from, this current book?
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's I think one earth elemental is the sort
Yeah,
of theming.
great. So, it's interesting, there was one piece of art, and I'm gonna oh my I can't stop. I have to like, I'm just tickled. It just tickles me. I love it. Oh my god. Okay. Um, but as I was saying, I'm gonna try to scan and find the
Mhm.
piece of art that I know I sent you because obviously
Yeah.
so much of what you do, like it really, really lives in a very, very cute style. And it was almost more cute than I necessarily needed for a lot of what this game was going to
Mm.
deliver. But then I saw Oh man. Oh,
Oh, there it is.
there it is. Then I saw this piece, which may be one of my favorite works of yours, I think, ever. Everything from just the line work, the color treatment, the way you've added the blush into the green skin. I mean, and for those who may not be able to tell, like that's not terribly easy to get a blush and a green together without it
Mm,
going brown.
it
So,
is true.
um, but yeah, just the color work.
Mm,
It's it's so charming. And this was the piece that when I looked at, I said, I absolutely believe that you could bring young adults to life and 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 really bring the kind of warmth and coziness that this game really wanted. Um, and man, well, turns like that was absolutely true. So um and I know people who are watching this, most of the people who have watched this have already like seen a lot of your artwork that we have been putting up. So of course this
mm.
is one of the characters. Looks like you did a post earlier today or
Yeah.
yesterday. Yeah,
Yeah, it was just a couple of hours ago, yeah.
yeah. So these are all the poses that are on the apartment board. And so in some cases, I mean, I both gave you direction, but also kind of left
Mm,
a lot kind of open. So um, talk to me first about how you approached trying to in some cases shift your style just to the right a little bit, and then how you approach
mm.
some of these characters.
Yeah, I was surprised when you asked me about the board game, and then you were like, specifically this one drawing you've done, and I was just like, oh, okay. And that's my D&D character, so I was like, right, okay, okay. And then you were like in a modern setting, and I was just like,
Yeah,
right, not fantasy, sort of slightly more on the realistic end,
yeah,
and not too cute. And I think because you were definitely like, don't make them too young. I was like, "Right, I
right.
won't. I'll try." Um, but yeah, so it was. Well, I was going to say it was a huge challenge, but it wasn't. It was, I think, because you'd given me some examples, sort of images, but like you'd sort of given me like almost vibe of what you were in, like you gave a description of like, well, we want this person. I think like that character there, I think you said red scarf,
Mhm.
and like sandy hair. So I think, and then I think you maybe even gave like a sort of a little personality. So it's sort of like with the personality and everything, it's sort of just it was I think I just sort of ran with it.
Yeah. Well, and
Um
run with it you did. Like, and by the
mm,
way, like I'm just gonna throw this up. Look, on the this is the actual, like, the kind of
mm,
apartment board. This is a very thin version of it, but it has
mm,
all the character art on it, because each pose represents a different thing you can do in the apartment, which is
mm,
terrific. But of course, the back of it didn't really have a lot of use. So I made it a huge showcase for at least one of the pieces of art, which I mean, just great.
mm,
Now, what I love what you did in particular, one of my favorite things about
mm,
this character for Red is all the flair, the buttons that you gave the character. There are
mm.
some piercings as well. Like there's like I felt like, oh, I know this person. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
they were very relatable to me. And yeah, I was like, yeah, sandy hair, red scarf, um,
Mm,
but you really just did a great job. And I think I might have actually told you like what their hobbies were. So I think I said, yeah,
yeah.
because everyone rests in a different way. They each take, a moment for self-care in a little bit different way. So painting miniatures was this character's way. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I did like the brief of they're listening to music, they're painting a miniature, they're writing in their journal. I was like, I know these people, I
yeah,
understand.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I think that's really that's the secret. Honestly, we approached game design, designing this game, um, which I don't take credit for the design at all, but I think once we had our little mitts on it, we were like, how can we lean deeper into the narrative? How can we really evoke more of a story out of each character? And
Mm,
so writing these character bios was part of that, and
yeah.
that helped me really vision them. And I think once you can talk about, well, who are they? What do they care about? Like then,
Mm,
like as an artist, you're like, that's fuel, right?
yeah. Yeah. No, it just helps with sort of envisioning a person when you're trying to just create just a totally different, and you don't want to like base it off of anything that people know too
Right.
much. So you're trying to just like, I'm imagining a totally new person, but when you're like, oh, but they're a huge nerd and they love to paint their minis, and and they're collecting their books. You're like, right, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Thing. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. As I'm saying nerd as
Oh,
I
no.
think
Oh,
in a
all
positive
inclusive.
way, as we
Yes.
can see.
All of us are in the same circle. And
Mm,
honestly, that was true, I think, clearly from the outset when we started talking too, is like, yeah,
mm,
this is a celebration of the slight introvert.
mm.
And so it's all love because we see ourselves in it. Um
Yeah.
so let's see. Sean says you deserve more subscribers after looking through some of your stuff. And and if you have not walked through either Facebook or Instagram, your account, folks, take some time and do that. There is like daily, there is new stuff going up, and it's all fabulous. Let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, so Scott has a question for you. What is
Huh?
your favorite animal to draw? I have a guess before you say, but go ahead and let me know.
It's definitely foxes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Well, oh, it's foxes or
Ah,
dragons.
see, okay, good, because I was going to say
Yeah.
dragon.
Yeah, they're like drawing. I suppose maybe if I drew more flying foxes, that would probably be like the middle ground. But yeah, no, I love to draw. Yeah, foxes, dragons, specifically feathery dragons. I've like
Mhm.
carved that niche. I'm just like, I don't know.
Well, so
Um,
so let's. What is it about those two animals that engage you the most? And then how do you what is the fun adventure in trying to re-envision them so many different ways?
Hmm. I mean, I was definitely a dragon child. One of those children that was obsessed with dragons. I read Aragon as a child. I was like, I want to be a dragon rider when I'm older. Yeah, it's a feasible thing. I was obsessed with the Hobbits. I was like, yep, Smaug, or anything with dragons, and I was like, yes, sign me up. And then yeah, I think and then yeah, the whole thing with feathery dinosaurs came out, and I
Oh
was just like,
yes.
I see, I've got a vision in my now. Feathery dragons is the way to go. Yeah, and and so yeah, cute feathery dragons. Also, I quite liked sort of trying to combine the sort of more Asian dragon, sort of spirited away,
Mhm.
sort of fluffy dragon with the European Western
Yeah,
scaly dragon. Combine them
that's
into a
kind of neat.
cute little dragon.
So as you sit down to do like a new dragon, you're obviously, you're
Mm.
not trying to necessarily repeat yourself and just do a different pose. Like,
Mm.
w- what kind of things do you think about when you're playing with, where to take a new dragon?
I think a lot of like, because I mean I've drawn so much stuff. I try and draw like I'll have a series, like a theme, and then I'll draw like a couple of like maybe like six things within this like series. So like I'm doing like a solar system fox series. So like a
Hmm.
fox based off of like Mercury, Venus,
Oh
Mars.
yeah. Okay.
So I'll do it like a series of dragons based off of the zodiac, and I'll just try and I'll like based off of like the information on the zodiacs. I'll then be like, well, that one's going to be red and it's going to be this, and then it sort of keeps things from repeating itself too much. But I've drawn a fair few rainbow dragons.
Yeah.
Just you can't stop me really.
Well, now, so with things like zodiac and the planets and things
Mm,
of that sort, I mean, I mean, that you leap right into like some great merch you could be making with those things too, calendars and mugs and everything else.
Mm.
Do you do any of that with your art?
Yeah, I mean, I did do calendars for a while, but I had a nightmare with a manufacturer one year, and it just put me off calendars for a couple of years. So I'm sort of trying to get myself back on the horse. But yeah, a manufacturer went into like they closed down without telling anyone, so they were still pretending they were sort of taking orders when they'd
Oh,
already closed.
oh no.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
did get my money back though, guys. So
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I mean, certainly, anyone who has ever dealt with production knows that there are
mm,
just inherent headaches that come with it. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So but
All
but I
right. So,
tried.
yeah, I see Alex is out here. Alex, of course, one of the designers of the game. He says,
What?
"Hey, Naomi, thank you for breathing life into Mike and I's game. Your work is gorgeous." So,
Thank you. I mean, it was your guys' great idea, so
yeah. Oh, and I see Rosie from Cozy Board Games is here as well. She just says, "So cute, love it." Scott plus 1 point for dragons, so an additional fan on dragonness. And so Rosie wants to know, yeah, you're from the UK too. Where are you from, Naomi?
yeah, I'm from Surrey, which is right next to London, sort of
Okay,
south east-ish. Yeah, it's yeah, just sort of very England.
okay,
Yeah.
very good. Now, any chance you're going to be at the UK Games Expo? Maybe not.
I
Okay. Well,
I didn't know.
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, we should talk about it then.
Mm, yeah.
But I'll be out this year for that. It's in Birmingham, so
Oh, nice. Oh,
yeah.
yeah. No, I mean, let me know when it is, and I might if the place for my books is there, I can.
Well, we will definitely have the prototype there. I don't know that we'll have a finished one by that time, but let's see. So you may have done this, but Scott is wondering whether
Mm.
you've done a Dragon Fox mashup.
I've done a flying, like yeah, I can't, sort of.
Yeah,
That was
that
a very
might
vague
be a little
response.
tricky. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done some flying foxes. I did a dragon fox. I've done a straight up dragon fox. I did a dragon animal series last year. So I did a fox dragon and a frog dragon and an axolotl dragon and an otter dragon.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And Rosie says she's from Surrey too. Oh, that's cool. Gray up in Red Hill and Reading.
Nice.
I'm not sure.
Reading?
It might be. I'm not sure if it's a typo or I just mangled it. Oh, yeah. All right. So Sean has asked the same question. Sean, this does not pertain to our conversation, but what I will say about the Night Cage is maybe there may be expansions, but it's not going to be an expansion. The idea is to like do a world of new game and further like you open up the door, use your keys to get to a new world. What are the new rules? But let's get back to the real story. But he's posted this comment like 3 times, so
Gotta tell him.
yeah. All right. Um, so I know that while we were working together, and we touched on this just a little moment ago. One of the things was we were looking for young adults, and if we went back to your portfolio, so many of the human characters that you have, you know,
Mm,
are almost cherubic, and which they're wonderful. But I was like, ooh,
mm,
so that might not be. They have to at least look like they could own an apartment on their own. So I think we kind of went back to the well, like it's like, yep, a little bit
mm.
older, or a little bit older.
Yeah.
Like how did you process and work through get going
Mm.
there?
Well, I think, yeah, because I a lot of the time I sort of go to like a sort of chibi, sort of Japanese, like the
Yes.
slightly big heads with the giant eye. So then drawing the going to the slightly, it's not realism. It's
Mm,
obviously not realism, but like the more, I don't know. It is. I think it's trying to keep not make the eyes huge,
yeah.
give some fairly like actual real noses as well. Not do like the anime like tiny nose.
Yeah.
And like
Longer
I was
necks
sort of
maybe too.
yeah, and giving
Yeah.
yeah, like just giving them sort of more normal proportions
Yeah.
while trying to still keep sort of I was trying to I think I was sort of trying to go for like Studio Ghibli has a slightly
Yes.
more realistic compared to like other anime sort of. It's
You
not
know,
realistic one.
I think we actually talked about that at some point during the
Mm,
process as,
mm,
something to think about, at least as it was,
mm.
going towards that way. So, Cozy Board Games wants to know, is this your first game that you've worked on? Um,
Yep.
and it says, how did you end up doing a place for all my books? Well, I begged. That was the.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've never done a board game. I think I very much said that, and like you sent me the email being like, "Oh, are you interested?" And then I was just like, "I've never done. Yes, I am very interested. I have never done this before." Like, I didn't want to come in being like, "Yes, I will do this," but like too confident
Yeah.
because I didn't want to sort of. And then suddenly it turns out I've got no idea what's going on. I was also impressed that I don't think you'd seen me draw a building before,
No?
so I thought it was very brave of you to be like, draw a village. And I was like,
Well,
I can draw a village, but you don't know I can draw a village.
so it's interesting. I am of the opinion that that whether you're an illustrator or a graphic artist or whatever you do creatively, yeah, you might have done nothing but lay out cell sheets or, as a graphic artist or, create
Mm,
X, Y, or Z. But just because you worked on kids products, you can still do liquor products. It's like
yeah.
it's the same skill set. It's a
Mm,
matter of like how you apply it, and of course, your your style just kind of pulls through into that new thing. So, for
mm.
example, like we had you do a ton of little items as
Oh,
well.
so many.
Yeah. Now, that said, obviously, some of them really celebrate what you do so well, right? Because these are like still cute little character things, which, man,
Mm.
do I want this mug? Yes, I need that mug. And, here talking about I mean, that dragon, like
Mm.
literally,
I would
that's
like that plush to exist.
exactly right. And I think everyone watching probably does too. So, but that said, just because
Mm.
like the dragon you would do all the time, I knew your style is
Mm.
going to be able to cross platform and bring the same charm, the same vibe to just common objects, and they still feel in the world, they still feel cozy like that.
Mm.
This headset, it's like it's adorable. Like you want to reach out and touch these things. I
Mm.
love these comfy sneakers. uh, and all I said was, yeah, um, they're gonna be comfy sneakers. I didn't say just draw me
Mm.
sneakers, and you sure
Mm.
did. Like those are your favorite pair of sneakers ever, I am sure. um, so yeah, when it came to actually doing the village, I had
Mm.
no doubt that you were going to be able to just say, well, yeah, in the world where my art
Mm.
lives, is a village where they feel natural. So,
Mm.
and though anyone who has not seen, I mean, just like this little pond with the ducks and people walking in here, and I kind of describe, well, the town park is where you kind of get forced to go when someone bumps you, but it's a very
Mm.
relaxing place that's going to energize you, and so you made it adorable. It's like, oh, and by the way, we don't want to have just one place. Like we need 3 benches so that you don't have to sit together.
I do remember that. I was like, I know that there needs to be 3 benches.
Yeah. Which is just, it's part of the world that
Mm.
we created, and it
Mm.
has logical rules that apply to, like, how people would work here. So,
Mm.
um oh, so this is a great question. Who are your artistic inspirations? Do you have
Oof.
other artists that really you enjoy and admire?
Yeah, I mean, I love an artist called, I think, Hey Carla. Don't know how to pronounce
Yeah.
their name. But they do some really, really pretty sort of, it's very sort of like cozy, sort of Ghibli-esque,
Mm,
really gorgeous. And then, oh God, I'm just gonna blank now on everyone. I'm just, yeah, there are just so many. I mean, obviously, I'm super inspired by Studio Ghibli in general and just
yeah.
cute stuff in general.
Yeah, I my
Yeah.
my list of artists who I admire, I mean, I have a
Mm,
huge list, which honestly is partly how I found you because every time I see an
mm,
artist as I'm going through Facebook or Instagram or, or either some of the just kind of the portfolio sites, I
mm.
just keep a running list. Even if I don't have a project for that person that's like the right style for that project, I
Yeah,
save the link to the portfolio because I'm like,
yeah.
"Oh, at some point, I wanna work with this person." And I had identified you probably a year and a half ago,
Mm.
because your stuff popped up on my feed, and I was like, "Oh, oh, well, I mean, I don't have anything right now that makes sense, but I will."
I mean, when you sent like the sort of synopsis of the game, I was just like, oh God, this is like so relevant to, I feel like this is very much a me thing. And then obviously you're trying to not be too like, yes, I really, really want to do this. Please hire me. You wanna sort of play it reasonably cool in a professional setting.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm just like, yes, I'm interested. As I'm telling all my friends and family, being like, I really want this job.
Well, and of course, the same is true on my side because I had actually reached out to a couple people
Mm,
as I was looking around, and I actually had encountered a whole bunch of people who their schedules were just impossible. They were just packed, and I
mm,
was like, oh, I hope no, would be. Oh, please no. So I also felt that kind of
mm.
Uh, I don't know, palpable sense of something. So Anthony says, oh, first of all, hi Anthony, good to see you. And Curt says, yeah, Curt knew you could make a building. I did. I knew you could do that. I didn't know you were an architect. Or
That's a lot of my friends, we were joking, being like, I've not told anyone. I don't tell anyone about the architecture thing. How do they know?
uh, let's see. So we've got Sean. You're an amazing artist, Naomi.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
And Cozy says, more board games should have cozy written on the box. Well,
Mhm.
maybe just more cozy games. But, honestly, cozy board games are a huge trend right now and really they've connected with so many people. I mean, recently Critter Kitchen, too, is just like, a beautiful, beautiful game, which Sandara did the art for. And man, you know, I think it's the moment for them, and people are just drawn, and they're like, yes, and what's the new one? So happily, people have responded that way to ours as well. Jessica, hey, how you doing? Uh, Jessica says, I want all the cute items from the game to exist, especially the dragon plushie.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Um, Sean wants to know, when did you start doing art?
It's a hard question just because
Yeah.
if is the question, when did I start doing it full time professionally? Is it when I
Well,
started
I guess the
drawing?
journey, like, what first,
Yeah.
like, when did you first like, I love doing this just for myself?
I've always liked to draw. I
Yeah.
think anyone that's known me, like when I was in school, I was sort of like infamously drawing all over my books.
Hmm.
I think I only got away with it because I was getting reasonable grades. Teachers did get really annoyed at it. They were like, "Well, she's passing, so what can we do?" I draw on the tables. Don't do that if you're. Yeah, and then yeah, I've just always loved drawing, and then got into digital drawing through university with doing
Yeah.
architecture, and then I just kept doing it. So I've always loved it, and then so I've probably been doing it more professionally. Like I sort of did it sort of part time professionally because it is you can't really go from
Right.
it from like nothing to like earning enough to survive
Yeah. With
in.
board games either.
Yeah, I think any creative thing, it's hard to go from like, I want to do this and make money doing it.
Yeah.
I can survive. There's like a middle ground where usually you have to sort of struggle through. That took a few years. So I've probably been doing it like full time for oh God, like 7 years. It's been a
Okay.
while.
Yeah.
I don't like how long I've been. It's when people tell me, "Oh, I've liked your art since I was a child."
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
Uh,
I feel that in here because I've been doing board games for 22 years now, so frightening.
yeah.
All right, let's see. Shivy. Hey, Shivy, how are you? I love Naomi's art. She did a commission of me and my ferrets. The game is an amazing concept. Can't wait. Do you remember the ferrets?
I'm like, I feel like I don't think I think I've only done one ferret commission, and then suddenly a load of people are coming in being like, actually, no, you also do my ferrets.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no, no.
You mentioned the kind of shift from uh, into digital art. Um,
Hmm.
that is not a jump that I have ever made. I also
Hmm.
I do light cartooning,
Yeah.
uh, but I'm not an illustrator, and I still I have to use pen and pencil to get my ideas
Hmm.
down. There's something about there's a distance created between me and the art when I'm using a
Hmm.
stylus or something else. Like, did you first find that to be true, or you're like you jumped right
Absolutely.
into it?
No, no. There was, yeah, a solid couple of like probably a couple of years where I was
Mm,
just like, it just doesn't feel as good as drawing with pen and pencil. Um, I unfortunately, anytime anyone asks me about art when it comes to like, oh, like how did you what is the magic trick to do the thing? It's
mhm,
usually just, have you tried drawing an unbelievable amount? And then you will definitely absolutely be good by the end. Like,
yeah,
I just again as a hobby, I was just drawing every day and then went through like it's really awkward at the beginning trying to start. I think it's easier now because there's so much more digital like you can draw on your iPad
yeah.
and things. You can sit down and there's a lot more options. Back in my day, it was so hard. You didn't I don't think there were any like affordable screen tablets. It was very
Yeah,
much the big mouse paddy sort of tablet. And you just have to unfortunately get used to it, which but that's the thing though, you do get used to it.
yeah,
Like anyone can. It's not like an innate talent that someone's born with. You
yeah.
just have to keep trying.
But now, obviously, that's the direction you went. So, what are kind of the benefits of being able to work digitally that you've really enjoyed?
The undo tool, absolutely amazing. 10 out of 10. I'm so bad at traditional art now because I'm so used to being able to undo. I at some points I'll press a phantom undo button on a sketchbook, thinking, and then I'm like, oh no, I'm stuck with the consequences of my decisions.
Oh, that's funny.
Um, yeah, and you've just got, and it's so flexible. You can draw something, and then someone be like, actually, I'd like everything to be purple, and you're like, I can do that. It can all
Yeah,
be purple if you want it.
yeah,
Yeah. I think I get a bit stressed with traditional art because everything's so permanent.
yeah.
So I've gone the opposite way around now. Traditional scares me.
That's interesting. Yeah. Now, but do you? I mean, do you miss the traditional executions? I mean, even like I get if it's client work, but like when it's
Mm.
your personal work.
Yeah, I genuinely would love, especially with like AI coming up and stuff with the
Oh
art. I would love to get more into doing traditional again. It's again, but it is a knack that I've slightly lost. So I'm not quite, I'm not as good. I can't produce quite as professional a result with like a pen and pencil compared to digital now. But I'd love to get back into it
yeah,
because it is just nice, and it's not, and then you have the physical thing there in front of you, which is, I think, there is an element of it's more satisfying when you've got the physical drawing, the physical painting. So
yeah. Now, do you go to any shows out in the UK where you're able to showcase, do art prints, do those kind of things where people can come and meet you and that sort of thing?
I try and usually do London MCM Comic Con.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I try and do that. I did that last October. Yeah, it was good fun. My mum's usually my personal assistant, so lots of people have met my mum. She might be watching right now.
Hi. Let's see. Rebecca, hey Rebecca, asks, if you said so, I missed it. Do you have any historical, like pre-1800s art inspirations? Well, that's a very specific question. I feel like there's a story behind that question, even. But see if you can. Any?
Pre-1800s. I don't. I mean, I love pre-Raphaelite paintings, and I mean, there probably are. I don't think they come across so much in my work
Yeah.
because it's so sort of anime inspired and things. I mean, I don't think it's pre-1800s. I think it's very much 1800s. I absolutely love a painter called John Singer Sargent.
Hmm.
That's great. That'll only help the art nerds, like the art history nerds. They'll be like, yes, we love him, but everyone else will be like, okay. Um, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. If there's more to that question, let us know. But
Yeah.
I mean, even personally, I I mean, I love just art in general
Mm,
and so many of its expressions and forms. And so when I mean, I'm one of those people. I walk into a museum. I'm
mm.
there for the day. You can try to pull me out. My family often does. I mean, I get sucked in. And one of my favorite things to do is because I'm not really an illustrator. One of the things
Mm,
I love is seeing sculptures because I will try to
mm,
photograph sculptures from different angles to really bring out different
mm,
emotions, different because any angle that you look at a sculpture, it's evocative of a slightly different thing, and
mm.
I love doing that. So, anyway.
Nice, nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rebecca did clarify. So,
Mm, okay.
there's no story behind the question. She's just a history teacher. So,
Oh, nice.
hey, Karen, good to see you out there. Thanks for joining us. Oh, well,
Oh, that's my mom.
oh, yay. Yes, of course. I just caught the last name. Um, So Rosie has a great question, which I already think I know the answer because I saw it in your bio. But um, do you read, Naomi? If so, what are you reading now, and what is your favorite book?
Ooh, well, yes, I read a ton. This isn't even my only book. This is my manga bookcase behind me.
So you've
Um,
organized them in a very concise
yes,
way. How
I've got
interesting.
two bookcases. I've got my manga one, and in the other room behind me, I've got my book one, which is almost exclusively Terry Pratchett, Discworld, and Lord of the Rings.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
I'm a huge Lord of the Rings Silmarillion nerd. It's horrible. Everyone will be like, I like Lord of the Rings. I'm like, oh yes, yes. Do you want to talk about Feanor? And they're like, who?
Who?
But I absolutely, my favorite book's probably The Hobbit.
Mhm.
Just because it's so easy to read. I'll take that on holiday, read
Yeah,
it, and then I'll start crying at the end because I forget that it's actually quite emotional.
yeah.
I am. I'm currently reading. Actually, I have it with me. I'm currently reading the Expanse books. So
Oh, yeah.
Nemesis games at the moment. I'm getting them from my library because I'm actually on a book buying ban.
Oh,
I have
oh.
no room for any more books. I've
Well,
absolutely not got any space. So
she says
it's ironic.
until next week where uh-oh.
Oh yeah. I'm terrible at keeping to the rule. I just bought the Iliad and the Odyssey, which yeah, and after I was like, no more books. So it's horrible. I can't
Yeah,
help it. I think maybe it's something other people can relate to, but
yeah.
I've got no room.
I just realized it's like, wait a second. I Is this possible? I don't have a copy of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Like I like I have to have
You need a
that book.
physical copy of that
Yeah.
one.
So I was at Barnes and Noble and I got like this very thick, like it's got a silver wrapped,
Oh,
all the
nice.
pages and like
The
looks
edges.
gorgeous. Yeah. So
Mm.
anyway,
You need one with
uh,
the John Tenniel prints in it. The old
yes,
classic prints. They're the perfect Alice in Wonderland prints.
yep, and they're printed in there. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Question: is the manga in the game inspired by Scott Pilgrim? Is the manga
It
in?
is.
Oh wait, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. Wait a second. I'll have to pull up the card because Rosie has actually held the prototype and played it, so
Oh,
she
nice.
knows of what she speaks. Find it. There we go. That is so funny because I did not necessarily catch it, but I am a huge Scott Pilgrim fan as well. So first of all, messenger bag. So that's kind of in the zone also, but this is the one that I think we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. There we go. That is funny. I see it now. That's great. All right. I will tell all my friends.
I also called the title of that comic is Book, Book, Book.
Also, not lost on me. I did see that part.
I
In
just
fact,
panicked.
Gate and I were looking at the artwork and we're like, does that say book, book, book?
I mean, you're lucky I didn't have to spell anything too complicated because I've worked on projects and I've written something in because I'll have like a polite email being like, you've spelled that incredibly wrong. So book is about as long as it gets where I'm like, I'm confident I can spell.
My skill is art.
Yeah. That's very much my defense. I'm like, well, you didn't ask me if I could spell when you hired me.
Oh, let's see. Rosie said her husband read all the Expanse books. He is glued to his Kindle. And yes, she also says that just posted a full unboxing video yesterday because I wanted to show off all the art, which I saw and loved. Thank you. So I'm trying to figure out how to get your videos onto our Kickstarter page because I don't think I can link that type of format. Anyway, I'll email you. Man, so we talked about a bunch of stuff. Trying to think if there's any other big pieces that I really wanted to like touch on because I know. Let's talk a little bit about your fan base. I mean, no, you have a shockingly huge group of people who follow you and and look forward to all your art. And by the way, on our page, have commented. They're like, I thought that was your art.
A lot of that.
And they get very jazzed. So now obviously it's a community that you've built as you have just started sharing your art. It's kind of like, I suppose it's a little bit these days, a little bit of a double-edged sword for artists. I mean, obviously you want to share your artwork and have it seen and have people enjoy it, but at the same time, I mean, now everyone is like, it's going to get scraped by engines that are like, potentially AI duplicate or take inspiration and like that would kill me as an artist. So
yeah.
are there any steps that you can take to like protect any of it?
I don't know. It's obviously incredibly sad and soul crushing. No, you don't want to like so you spend years coming up with this reasonably unique style and then people, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so
Try.
and actually that reminds me because that's actually what I had as a question like 5-10 minutes back. Your style. So when did you actually hit upon your style? Because now sometimes it's just like, oh, that's just what comes out of me. That has always been my style, and that's probably true of me. But Sometimes people like try on different artistic hats. And
Mm.
where did you land on what you do now?
I mean, yeah, it was just, like 10 years ago, I was just drawing
Mm,
totally random stuff. I think with finding an art style, it's just draw like every day, draw what you want, look at other artists, like pick the bits you like. You know, I think I'm not telling people to go out and just copy other artists without like with just do it as in copy people in, sketch what the bits you like. If you're going to post it, say that you've copied from this person for
oh,
practice. Just
yep.
as a rule, just don't be like I drew this thing with it was just me. But and just take the bits from other artists you like, draw, practice, continue like draw over and over again. I think it's just I just drew every day
Yeah.
and I think it took a couple of years. And I mean, like art style continues to change. I don't know if I know any artists that their art style has been the same from like 5 years ago to today.
Yeah.
My art definitely looks different a bit, like less so than like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But for, like my older art, I think people, like I have had people that commissioned me like 5 years ago that commissioned me again. And the thing I drew for them, they want me to draw their exact same D&D character, and the commission looks so different to what I would draw now.
Yeah.
And it's just repetitive. Again, I think you just have to find the bits you like, and then just keep going. And then like the style like I wasn't looking for like I wasn't like I'm going to find my art style. It
Right.
just sort of happen. You can't force it. I think. I mean, you probably can. I'm sure you can. I'm sure someone did, but I didn't.
Well,
I couldn't.
so here's an interesting question because you have a community of people who follow you
Mm,
and interact with you and react
mm.
to your art in real time. Um, at some point, um, does your style modifier change because you're like, oh, people really responded to this? Is it subtle? Does it have an influence, or is it like, no, this is just my vision. I'm glad people are enjoying it. Or sometimes do you lean into it?
I think probably especially maybe in the beginning of
Yeah,
social media, and maybe when my page took off, I was trying very hard to get like the most amount of people to like the thing I was drawing.
yeah,
But it's not a healthy long-term way to be creative, to just
mm,
always be trying to get people to like what you're drawing.
yeah,
You have to enjoy it. I definitely, a few years ago, like, definitely over 5 years ago, I think I started to feel like I'm just drawing what people want me to draw.
hmm.
I don't really want to be drawing this anymore.
Ah,
Um, and then I just sort of slowly just shifted over, and now I am just absolutely drawing what I want to draw,
well,
and
that's
just
great.
hoping people like it, which I think has worked, and I think it has led to having a more sort of healthy group of people, like the people that follow me, that interact with me, like the stuff that I like. It's
Yeah,
a sort of easier thing than sort of like feeling like you're going like against the current, and you're sort of yeah.
yeah.
But I think that's just social media in general, you
Well,
know.
that's a fair point. But
Mm,
so to a certain extent, though, I think that's the benefit. I mean, there's so many
mm,
things we can say that are kind of negative about social media, but you can find your tribe, and they can
mm,
find you. Um,
mm,
and so when people have like something that they're passionate about, they're going to find others who are equally as passionate. And if you've got
mm.
something creative, you can find people who appreciate it. Because I
Yeah.
think every creative thing that we as a race do is like
Mm,
it has an audience.
mm.
It may be a small audience, it may be a giant audience, but you will find people who appreciate it. And
Yeah.
so that's I guess that's it's kind of the positive side, maybe.
Yeah, it's social media is hard. Like,
Yeah,
it's not easy, and it's not like really helpful for being creative.
yeah,
There's a balance. It's hard, and there's talent and like success on social media aren't always totally linked. I've seen
that's
artists
fair.
that are incredible, and also there is a genuine random element of random chance to the whole thing, I think I just happened to be like lucky at a certain point, and it just sort of managed to, like, obviously I tried really hard. I put a lot of effort in.
Right. So this is, I think, where the adage, you know, luck comes from hard work. You
Mm,
know, you make a lot of your own luck. And if you're doing
mm,
something and you're putting it out there and you're, looking to improve, like, the luck, the luck is
mm.
that it, yeah, will get recognized and that sort of thing, but it's not just pure luck. It's all
No.
the energy that you put into it, and it
Mm,
creates, you create your vision of the future, right? Yeah,
I like it.
yeah.
Very philosophical.
Well, All right, let's see. People recognize Naomi on mine and Jason's videos too. Oh, okay. So we were
Mm.
talking about your community, and so here are folks doing book talk and TikTok, and like, oh wait, that's Naomi. So yeah, so
Yeah.
you're out there. That's great.
Yeah, I got a few messages before I think I made a bigger post being like, I did a board game, and people being like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Has someone taken your art? I'm like,
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
nobody panic. But
Wonderful.
I appreciate that people are keeping an eye out for me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and that's great because, yeah, true fans really, really do. I receive
mm,
emails like that as well, like on different topics, but people looking out for you.
yeah.
So yeah. Well, Naomi, we could not be more thrilled and more honored to have you working with us on this project. And I
Mm,
think that the game's success, I mean, there are a lot of factors. It's every leg of the stool is important in making the product what it is, and your art
yeah.
is a very real leg of that stool, and we just appreciate all your work on it.
Aw. It's an honor to be part of such a like surprisingly successful
Yeah.
like project. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, and it's
yeah.
great because it's gonna open, I think, a lot of people up, to see your work that may not have been exposed to it before too,
Mm.
and will likely seek it out. So, and of course, we have, I don't know if you've seen it, but we have your name very prominently placed on the box.
Oh,
So,
nice.
all right. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time. I think we've been on for over an hour now. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, but it was wonderful, wonderful chatting with you. And Naomi, where can people find you and your art?
Well, so I'm Naomi_Lord on Instagram, and then I'm Naomi Lord Art everywhere else, basically everywhere else, Facebook, TikTok, other things maybe. But yeah, Naomi_Lord Instagram or Naomi Lord Art everywhere else. I mean, honestly, Google me.
Yeah.
Something will come up, hopefully.
Right. Well, and again, thank you, audience, for stopping in and hanging out with us. Appreciate all your questions and had a great conversation. So thanks for all being here. And Naomi, we'll be talking again soon because we probably have more stuff to talk about. So anyway, everyone,
Thanks
have
so much
a
for
great
having
one.
me.
All right. So long, everyone.
Bye.